Hello and welcome. My name is James McNeil. This is the Emotionally Intelligent Fighter video series at mentalmma.com. And so this video is focused on the motivation formula. How would you like it if you knew the not magic, but how would you like it if you knew the formula for motivation? You can motivate yourself to do things that you want to do. You could motivate others, motivate your kids, motivate your spouse or whatever. You could motivate other fighters and you could motivate yourself back to that. So it's a delicate formula. It is real. This is what happens inside of a person that produces the best possible motivation, and you're about to understand it. Specifically, of course, our focus is going to continue to be on mixed martial arts. So here we go. The delicate balance of discomfort and hope produce motivation. Without discomfort, there's no reason to change. Without hope, there's no reason to try. I'll say that again. Without discomfort, there's no reason to change. Without hope, there's no reason to try. And so it's so incredibly important that a fighter, a mixed martial artist, have a delicate balance of discomfort and hope to set themselves up for proper and the best possible motivation going into a fight. Now, you may think of some fighters who have natural giftedness. They may not have felt sufficient discomfort to push themselves to superior levels of fitness or to train in new disciplines and develop new skills. And a couple that come to mind off the top of my head, Frank Mir and BJ Penn, both highly naturally gifted, very talented, very strong and competent mixed martial artists who had such a natural ability. They were able to go right kind of through the field of people and reach top levels without pushing themselves as hard as possible. In the case of both of them, discomfort did elevate. They did hit a level of saying, okay, enough, and they made some changes. Now, I'm not going to put too much on them. I believe I'm quoting them both when I say that they finally hit a level and said, I'm going to take my game to the next level. I'm going to actually train harder or train better. And so changing gyms or doing whatever they had to do. And I believe both of them have made dramatic positive changes in that way. Now, you also know that a fighter has to believe in themselves. They have to believe that it's possible, that they can win a fight, that they can actually do something, or they're not going to perform at the best level. So we know that discomfort and hope are essential. And I wanted to give a couple of examples of where I've seen fighters make some, what I believe is errors in the area of discomfort and hope. The one that comes to mind is BJ Penn. If you're watching this, I apologize profusely if I offend you. Please don't beat me up. I'm actually a nice person. So I am trying to help. So before the second fight with George St. Pierre, BJ Penn had in the media made several comments that were very extreme comments. They were very provocative comments. Now, his motivation, don't know. Could be to motivate himself. Could have been to have an emotional effect on George St. Pierre. It could be to hype up the fight. Who knows why? And I'm not passing any judgment on why. But I can talk to what he said and the possible effects. So, first of all, one of the things that BJ was doing in those interviews was he was talking about how he had infinite hope. He was convinced he was going to beat him. There was no way he could lose. There was just no way. He is the greatest, the best, the whatever. And the comments of positive hope were just out of this world. On top of that, he also wanted to bring in some discomfort into his conversation. And he said, and he would say to the camera, George, I hope you're listening. This is a fight to the death. I'm going to fight to the death. Now, a fight to the death will escalate the idea of discomfort inside of both fighters if they both believe the comments. So I'm going to fight this to the death and I can't lose. If George St. Pierre believed both of those, that could affect his emotions. And so I doubt that he did believe those comments, but I did want to say that any fighter who makes a comment hears themselves. I'll say that again. If you make a comment, you hear yourself. And if you're gambling on fighting and you watch a fighter make comments that could adversely affect their performance, just know this, they're hearing it themselves. It could, in fact, affect dramatically their performance. So if BJ believed his comments about hope, it may have affected his willingness to train as much as possibly necessary. And if he believed his comments about discomfort, if his brain accepted them as possibly true that this could be a fight to the death, that could actually create some tenseness and some hesitancy, and it could hinder the full flow of being in what's called the zone, the calm confidence and the competence that's stimulated to enter into the zone that we'll talk more about. So somehow, I believe these kinds of comments would have affected BJ Penn in that fight, and I believe that that's the kind of thing to watch out for. So be mindful of that. Discomfort and hope can be excessive. Now, does a fighter need to believe in themselves? Absolutely. Would it be helpful if a fighter saw this as a sport instead of a fight? I believe so. Many of the fighters will actually say, this is a sport, this is a sport, this is a sport, this is a competition, this isn't a fight. It's not that that person wants to beat me up or I want to beat that person up. We respect each other and we're competing. And there's something very healthy about that mentally, rather than think of it as a fist fight, two guys just beating each other up, or women beating each other up. And so I think it's healthy. I personally do. I know that some fighters tend to utilize the discomfort of this is a grudge match, I can't stand this person, and they stimulate a lot of strong emotion. I'm hesitant to endorse that fully, obviously, but just so you know, that's what that is. One more example of this, in the recent, upon the date of this recording, recent edition of The Ultimate Fighter, the heavyweights. It was The Ultimate Fighter Season 10. Quinton Rampage Jackson coached against Rashad Evans. Quinton Rampage Jackson's camp focused on hope. Every time that a fighter was about to fight and the results were not positive, as if you were tracking along, that Rashad Evans' team did almost a full clean sweep of the entire competition, and Quinton Rampage Jackson had like one fighter get out of the first round. So it didn't work. And what they seem to be focused on is hope only. You can't be beat. You can't lose. You can't lose. That person, that guy has no chance. You're going to destroy him. You're going to get him. You're going to... And so it was all focused on hope. The difficulties that might affect their training and their line of thought, they might not be thinking about, but what if the guy takes me down? What if he does something I'm not expecting? What if that plan I had, that one plan I had, doesn't work? What am I going to do then? And so it may not have stimulated sufficient discomfort. Rashad Evans' camp, on the other hand, was focused on, you can do this, you can. And inside of the comment, you can, is embedded both the hope, you can, but not the guarantee. It also includes the discomfort, because it's abundantly clear in that kind of context and in that kind of culture, in that environment, that it's not the best fighter who wins. It's the one who fights best that night, that day, that time, that event, who's going to win. And so you may have all the tools, you may have all the skills, you may have all the training and the conditioning. The question is, are you going to perform? Are you going to deliver when under fire, when in that cage? And on The Ultimate Fighter, how many times have we seen people who are great in the gym not perform that well in the cage? And so it's, can I bring it all together at the moment? So it requires that delicate balance of discomfort and hope, and both of them have to be there in balance to stimulate the best possible motivation. Hope that helps. That should be able to help you. If you're a cornerman, by the way, please keep this in mind. And if you're a coach or trainer, please keep this in mind. If you're a fighter, keep this in mind. If you're a gambler, keep that in mind. Hopefully this helps you. Again, my name is James McNeil. This is mentalmma.com, and this video series is The Emotionally Intelligent Fighter. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you again soon.